Hello everyone, as you may or may not be aware, EU5 has been announced for a while, and if there is one video game that needs a proper send-off, well that would be EU4. I believe I have this campaign, which I concluded recently, as my campaign of choice to conclude my time with single-player EU4 properly. Now, I do want to get into the video and start showing off, dare I say, so very quickly as always, a like would be appreciated if you haven't already, and a subscription would be amazing, and if you are interested in pre-ordering EU5 or getting frankly anything on the Paradox store, please use code Lemon Cake for a 0% discount, albeit help support the channel in the process. But look, enough self-shilling, let's get into the save properly. So yeah, here we are in EU4, and as you can see, I'm going to be concluding this run on the 1st of December 1771, as that was when the last province I was culture converting was finished, and also while I'm here, we'll just say again, I'm going to be in a bit more of a conversational tone for this video as a whole, as I'm basically discussing the campaign and, be going through the replay. I will be providing saves. I'll provide one general save for basically if you just want to load into the last save and look around for the world, if that's something you're interested. And I will also be making my backlog of saves available to my channel members. What do I mean by the backlog of saves? Well, actually, because this campaign, I didn't exactly try hard it too much. I could have certainly gone a lot faster and taken a lot more overextension. I did play it properly. There was a lot of micromanagement involved. And in essence, every 5 years when I could seize Crownland, sell Crownland, do all those things, well, I would plan my wars and my expansions to be around that, which is how a lot of my early game was being funded. I didn't do anything like Parla Engine over here, or anything in the more egregious exploit territory. I mean, I didn't even do any half-states, so that we'll get into a little bit of an exception later, where I wasn't doing, shall we say, I wasn't doing half-states because I needed the money from half-states. I did half-states because I'd finished the world conquest, and I full-stated everything just so I could press the core button and not have to go back and state everything. But apart from that example, for example, I didn't do any half-states. I also did no trade companies almost as a challenge, but also full core world conquest, right? But yeah, as you can probably see now as I'm showing on screen, I have made a whole bunch of backups, and I didn't really use like any of these. I think a couple of them I ended up using, but they do provide if you want any snapshots, go back to any specific save, they will be available for you to do. I did do a migration on my computer as well. As you can imagine, the migration was on the 9th of November, which is why all the old backups are dated to then, when I copy-pasted the folders and hence created new ones. But this campaign, and I think this is also important for transparency, was started in January of 2025. That is to say that this has been a 9 months project that I've been doing quite leisurely on the background. So yeah, this is another thing, right? These campaigns do take a really long time. And this was my casual campaign that I'm basically showing off now, for lack of a better word. But yeah, it's not like something I did overnight. And let's also be clear here, there was a lot of birding. We'll get back into that later, right? But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of talking. Let's get into the, again, actual save now. Wow, I've been promising that for a while, haven't I? Well, there we go. We're constructing a canal, initializing the game. It does take a second to load in now. After all, we did change some stuff around, shall we say. That's one way of phrasing it. But yeah, our capital is in the New World. To be very quickly on how that was achieved, our capital was starting as Castile in, I do believe, Madrid. I don't think I moved it to Toledo, but I, through colonization, did move my capital eventually to here. And what's interesting with this province specifically, and this is one of these as seat in Parliament actually, is that if we consult the subcontinents, this is part of the Oceania continent, and hence it was my only province on the Oceania continent when I'd colonized it, which meant that after I'd colonized it and moved my capital here, I could then, after forming Rome, because Rome is the capital to Italy, move my capital to the New World without issues and hence avoid colonial nations for the full core. But to be extra clear, if we consult with the religious map mode, we are a complete Catholic one faith, and if we go into our culture map mode, we are 100% Roman. In culture, yes, we are 100% Roman. If we consult the economic tab, we can see that we have 3,272 provinces, so we've full cored and colonized everything. We own everything directly under us. And indeed, this is a full state world conquest. So if you look at the diplomatic map mode, as you can see, every single province is being fully stated. So yeah, full state world conquest. If we consult the economy tab again, as you can see, our average autonomy in our provinces and our state core provinces is 0% as well. So it's 100% direct rule. We have full domain over the world in that regard, which sounds very cool when I say it that way. But yeah, so it's a full state world conquest. And you may be wondering, Mr. Lemon Cake, you're clearly suffering from GovCap issues, right? I mean, you're full state of the world. Surely that has to be hard to govern, right? And I didn't do any Parla Engine for infinite GovCap, but at the same time, yeah, I don't understand how people complain about governing capacity in this game. Like, I get the vision of it, but it is so easy to just not worry about GovCap. Like, you can just build courthouses and eventually town halls and state houses, and you're just done, right? You don't really need to build other manufactories in single player, and yeah, you're absolutely fine. And the other thing I think is also important to mention, and we'll mention this when I start talking about the timeline and through the timeline, is that I didn't do any real modifier stacking this campaign. I started as Castile. I formed Spain, so you can see here that I have the Castilian version of the Spanish mission tree. And then I just formed Rome, and that's it. There was no other modifier stacking, nothing beyond that. Like, I didn't form Sardinia Piedmont. And even for the case of admin efficiency, like, I'm currently on 7-7 admin efficiency, but that's because I just got the admin tech, because why not? I actually did most of the world conquest on 6-7 admin efficiency. Like, you don't need any ridiculous admin efficiency amount, and obviously this is not a bad amount of admin efficiency, but like, you build Alhambra, you get the Roman Empire reform, you get the political absolutism reform, you get Roman Empire ideas for 5%, and you get some absolutism, and you're fine. That's enough admin efficiency, especially once you take into account all the monuments that give you promised war score cost. This is a bit of a hard one to click on, but yeah, Malta, for example, 15% here, incredible, right? So it's quite stackable to get promised war score cost and a bunch of stuff like that and just go win. And yeah, you absolutely don't need to do any kind of crazy modifier stacking over the top to achieve things like that. And probably more of an insult to the game that this is so doable. But it really, really was. And the actual world conquest, the full world conquest from the saves, is finished in 1707. The rest of the time I just spent culture converting and religiously converting. Like, I have to spend an extra 70 years to basically finish that bit. And obviously colonization took a hot second. But yeah, so super doable. I did, of course, also run Senate, aka Parliament. I'm very under Parliament seats because I was for ages, but then I caught everything at the end. So now I'm like missing a whole bunch of Parliament seats, which is kind of funny. And the economy, I was sitting at like 2,300 income for so long. And then furnaces. Like, it is ridiculous. Building furnaces literally 10x my economy. It sounds pretty insane until you also realize that, well, I didn't just build some furnaces. I think I built literally every single furnace possible. Because, of course, it's a full state world conquest, and I've embraced enlightenment a while ago. So, no, I mean, I literally own... Oh, am I missing one here? No. Oh, I think I'm building a state house here. Yeah, I am building one more state house. I haven't actually full built state houses. I think this was one of the last provinces I was culture converting. So I was like, yeah, I'll shove a state house on there at the end. Anyway, the reason I bring all that up is, of course, this is a bit of a disproportional amount of furnaces you'd normally get. You'd not normally be able to build all 77 furnaces, or however many there are in the game. I forgot. I remember calculating it a while ago, but you get the picture. And if I look at my goods produced, it is something absurd. Now, I believe with the British tier government, or the teleocracy government reform, where you can set up the goods produced like OPMs, you can get more goods produced. But given that I haven't done that, and a full state world conquest, where's my goods produced? There it is. I have 300% goods produced. Yeah, literally a 3x on the amount of goods produced I'm producing, with every province on zero autonomy. So even like this random desert that has a farmer state is making 3 from production and producing 17 ducats of trade value. Jesus Christ, that's insane. Okay. But you get the picture. This is a random 3-dev cow desert with a... Well, to be fair, it's got a farmer state on it. I don't think I built this one. I definitely just conquered it, but you get the point. So the goods produced in the economy is absolutely incredible and way overkill, but it's also something to bear in mind that I just didn't really need to. The other funny part, of course, to me is the revolution started. Can't really embrace it because, it's going to be a bit hard for me to do. Spawn in Korea, Central Revolution, but I can't really do anything with it because even with 100 absolutism, revolution gives me plus 25 local unrest, but that makes it go to -6. I'm so built to handle overextension all these debuffs that the revolution does nothing. Like, literally, I have so much unrest reduction, -13 from being just passively existing, and I have 16 tolerance for the true faith, because I grab religious ideas. We'll talk about ideas in a second. I grab religious ideas for tolerance for true faith, and then I, build some monuments. The revolution doesn't affect me. My culture is just so homogenous. And there's no wrong culture anywhere, of course, because it's the one culture. So, yeah, the revolution spawner did nothing. What also I will say is quite funny is that while I've done, I believe now 4 full one culture runs, I've yet to get the own all institution origin province achievement. Because, yeah, there we go. I still don't have this achievement because I've never actually played late enough for industrialization to spawn. And in this campaign, it has spawned, but... Well, sorry, it can't spawn, because I need to be... my capital home continent here in New York. This is not the highest value trade node, so I've kind of prevented industrialization from spawning, because I'm just shoving everything relatively leisurely into the English Channel for my trade. And it's not even great like this. I'm still collecting in Genoa, and as you can see, I don't have enough merchants anywhere, so there's a lot of trade steering I'm leaving on the table. But what I mean to say is that I could, like, do some finicky stuff and make Chesapeake Bay the highest value trade node to actually spawn industrialization. But yeah, it's just not spawning, so I don't think I'll be getting that achievement. And I think it's kind of funny to say I've done multiple one culture runs. Sorry, I've done multiple one faith runs and done it in one culture run. I still don't have the own every institution province because you don't need to play that late into the game. So that's something, I guess. And the other thing that's a bit weird is, as you may have noticed, I also wanted to complete the Spanish mission tree achievement, but I can't. Viceroy of New Spain, New Granadan Kingdom, all of those things require me to add provinces to holy orders, and I can't do that. Even if they were the right culture, which they're not because they're Roman, I can't add them to a holy order because Rome doesn't have holy orders. Spain or Castile has them. So I can actually never complete those missions now. These missions are literally impossible for me to really do. The only way I can do that now is that if I change my primary culture back to something like Castilian or Spanish, I think that'll give me holy orders again. Or I create a client state in this area and then culture convert it back to Castilian or whatever and do it that way. And there is an event, I do get because my ruler, weirdly enough, I died without an error at one point, I believe is actually Castilian. He's not Roman, which is interesting. But either way, because he's Castilian, I did get an event, and I believe that's saved up in my things, yeah. Castilian event 1740, where he says, shall we change our primary culture to Castilian? And I was like, you know what, I'm going to say no, but I'm going to save that just in case it's something I want to do. And yeah, that's if I really want to grind out the achievement, but to be honest, I'm not that fussed about it myself. So yeah, that's that to say. Otherwise, I've literally spent the entire campaign with my army composition being 2010s because, look, the way you win wars is you just have like, you invade Japan with 90,000 or 120,000 or something stupid. You outscale the AI and then you basically do an Ottomans where you don't really need a lot of army quality and then you just send in all of the troops. An early game, if you're someone like Spain, you actually have a bunch of army quality comparatively because you can call crusades. Oh, I can get some legitimacy. And you end up fighting so much, you basically still on 100 army tradition. Like, I've dropped down to like 50 army tradition now, but I was doing so many sieges and so much fighting that I basically sat anywhere between 95 to 100 army tradition for most of the campaign if you check any of the in-between saves. And that's quite good because it gives you like 25% morale. And then Castile has some morale stuff. And then Spain, I think, had some morale bonuses and discipline. And so, yeah, long and short of it was fine. I ran out of 3-star generals. Probably, yeah, I mean, yeah, all of them died because I was speed 5ing to finish the culture conversion. Oh yeah, that's about that. Right, so I guess let's quickly talk about the timeline now. So I was Castile into this run. I believe first 5 years I just did the Civil War, and I think I did a show strength or 2, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks relatively leisurely, and yeah, so as you can see here, first 5 years did pretty much nothing. And then start leisurely expanding, Granada. Keep an eye on what nations are doing up and around. By 56, eat a bit of Morocco, eat a bit of Lemens, and doing the build up, getting ready for conquest. I do a lot of vassal gameplay in this run as well. So I've got the PU on Aragon, which I'm starting to feed Aragon into France here. I think this around the time I get the Burgundy PU as well. I see Austria's trying to go into the Ottomans here. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But then yeah, I'm into England now because I don't want to fight England late. It can get a bit annoying, so I just go for early England. I'm feeding Gascony here. I'm dealing with France. I know I get a PU on Austria, so I'm happy to let them kind of blob. But yeah, I also cut the Ottomans down to size early. I don't like fighting late game Ottomans. That can get them a bit annoying, so I like fighting Ottomans early. So if I am in Europe, I always make sure to deal with the Ottomans sooner rather than later. I think around this time I also see Ferrara is like one tick barely accepting to become vassalization, so I grab a Ferrara vassal at some point, which is relatively nice because it's a bunch of AE free land. I don't have a single coalition during this time. And yeah, Timmy's having a bit of a good game. There we go, there I form Spain, but then Castile, and then I get the inheritance. I definitely have the Naples and Portugal PUs at this point as well. At one point, I will do some RNG manipulation. For those unaware, the chance to inherit thing can be manipulated by the amount of provinces you own. So I actually birded a ruler death where I gave a bunch of provinces to Portugal. There we go. There you saw it. And Naples, I gave them some land. And then I just birded like 20 times until they would die. I did a lot of birds in this campaign, to be absolutely upfront about it. That's, dare I say, the main exploit, if you can be called that. But yeah, normal expansion here. By around 1550, I'm kind of done with the Roman Empire. I'm trying to avoid integrating Austria and see if I can get the Roman Empire formable, because you can see I've done this colony here and I've done this colony here, so I want to move my capital at this point. But I've realized, no, I think I need to annex Austria, so I just start, expanding into Africa, going into Hungary. I think I do a cut here to Commonwealth soon enough. But when Austria's annexed, yeah, there it is. I form Rome, and at this point I move my capital here. It's going to be a bit more aggressive for colonization and start cleaning up shop a lot more. I'm a bit worried about, getting into Asia. It's already 1600s almost. But the thing is, once 1600s hits, absolutism gets invented. And I don't even need to court and country now. It's so much easier to snack absolutism than it was back in the good old days. So, yeah, you can really see a difference. Like, I'm doing some cuts here. I'm doing the odd cut here and there. And bear in mind, I also do get diplomatic ideas relatively late. I never really change my day group, so I open exploration. I kind of keep exploration the whole time because I'm still trying to do a bunch of colonizations. The problem with killing Portugal as early as I did and killing everyone in Europe as early as I did is that it's quite painful to then kill them later. Oh, and I was yapping, but I didn't miss about how I got an opium Ming, vassalized them, and now I'm vassal feeding Ming land back against Qing. So at some point, you're going to see my Qing trees expire, and there we go. Ming is restored back to the natural borders. But I will annex them later. I think I leave Japan relatively late, and it's already 1630, so I need to start looking at Africa. But there we go, I'm into Qing now. Sorry, not looking at Africa, I need to start looking in India. I believe I'm starting to clean up Africa as well. I'll zoom out a bit more. But yeah, capital's still in New World. Haven't done that much colonization. Oh, I can select units. Interesting, in the timeline, I didn't realize I could do that. But yeah, clean up shop here. India's starting to go. Japan's basically gone. And yeah, by around 1700s, I was practically done because 40 years for this is enough time, right? This is a bit more annoying. Malacca has actual navy quality, but they don't realize that. So if I just shove 100 heavy ships there, they get intimidated. And then around the 1670s, 80s, I'm like, I need to go into I need to go into the new world here, and I just blob this. Like it's actually kind of funny. Yep, eating natives is very annoying sometimes because if you eat a migratory tribe, they just kind of migrate. But if you encircle them almost with colonies, you can get away with doing that. Um, and yeah, as you can see, I'm starting to colonize over here. There we go. I get the encirclement off, eat them immediately. Have a couple peeps left over here. The odd, yeah, in Australia tribes, you can definitely see me start going for the encirclements. With the colonies, there we go. Yep, encirclement, encirclement. And yeah, 1707, I'm done the world conquest, and then I just go absolutely ham with the colonization. You can probably most likely see it in these bits. Yep, look at that. And this is, if you've seen my community post where I say I'm like 500 over colonial limit, I don't think I was above 10 loans at any point until I started colonizing and being like 50 colonies over the expected amount. Then I had to take loans, but I paid them off before the end. So yeah, again, I believe that was fine. And there we go. I'm cleaning up the rest of this stuff over here. And in Brazil, finally unite these two continents, clean up the rest of Africa. Shame there's the timeline for my PUs that I integrated. But yeah, this is still bugged, but by this point I'm very much done, and I'm just basically speed 5ing. I stopped making backups at 1750, because I'm just speed 5ing at this point to finish off the culture conversions. And yeah, that's about that. I can fast forward this now, because I just don't do anything until I finish off the culture conversions. Honestly, overall, I think it was quite an interesting campaign. I'd certainly recommend doing it if you consider yourself as a good EU4 player. I don't think it's particularly hard. I enjoyed the routing and almost the, I don't want to say challenge, but like committing to a vision and carrying it out, because it wasn't even that difficult mechanically. No single war I could point to and say was particularly hard. Like, by the time I got to something like Timmy and Qing, I had all of the European advantages. And all the early wars against someone like Ottomans is that by being Castile, I had so many military buffs for calling a crusade on them and doing stuff like that, that I never needed anything extra to go kill them. Like, I just go call Parliament or go ask the Pope for, again, crusade buffs or morale of armies from here, and I'll just have enough army quality to beat up the Ottomans, right? For government reforms, obviously Roman Empire, but I had the system of councils. I did go curtail early because, I mean, I guess curtail the nobility, a bit of extra money. I did go representatives of the crown because I had a lot of dip relations earlier and I was doing a lot of subjecty stuff, so this was nice to go. Absolutely not necessary. I mean, decentralized bureaucracy could have been nice for autonomy territories and all state equilibrium. Centralized monarchical bureaucracy can also be nice for culture conversion, cost 10%, but I had enough culture conversion cost, didn't really need it. This was nice early on for just getting an extra dip relation slot, honestly, but that's about it. Lands for the Church is very nice for Castile specifically. Made the Pope happy. I did annex them eventually, but it was nice. And Curia Power Cost, I was running all of them, as you can guess, most of the game. But yeah, then I went to Tercios because Spanish mission tree. Aristocratic Court, you know what? There are certainly other better options, but I thought, why not? The improved relations was relatively nice, and this was the time when I was going into Europe, so AE was like something to consider. I never did get coalition this campaign, but it was something I was like looking at, and the improved relations was nice, and the dip rep was good for annexing things like Austria faster. But yeah, admin clergy, absolutely a pick. Free admin policy, autonomous true faith, love it. Curtail the burgers, I'm sorry, 15% tracery, made a bunch of money. Machiavellian reign, I was getting ready to do truce breaks. I don't really think I did truce breaks. I did a couple no CPs, but I did not need to do truce breaks. What's also amazing with Machiavellian reign is there's an interesting way that -1 stab hit to declare wars interacts with the diplomatic lowered impact on stab. This makes, basically, if you have this and you have Machiavellian rule, you do take +2 war exhaustion when you deck an OCB, but I didn't realize it doesn't cost you stab to deck an OCB if you have this and diplomatic ideas, so yeah, that was nice. Grab CCR from tier 10. Could have grabbed the Gov Cap. I did not need the Gov Cap even at that point. I was always good on Gov Cap this entire campaign, which is a bit surreal to say. But yeah, like I'm literally full core in the world. So I didn't need the Gov Cap. I went for the CCR because that was nice. Could have gone possible policies, and I was definitely considering war score costs for other religions and a tolerance to true faith, but ultimately didn't need it. And obviously admin efficiency was good at the end. Was even thinking of switching to free policies to colonize a bit faster, but it just didn't matter. When you're getting 195 global settlers and you can afford to run minus 10,000 ducats a month on colonies, just go do that and you'll be fine. So that's my suggestion in that regard. In ideas, there was one idea I did drop at tier 6 instead of expansion, I'd go offensive, and I actually finished offensive. But I did drop offensive at the end to get expansion to finish all the colonization. And then after I actually started all the culture conversions, waiting for them to finish, I unlocked the 7th idea. So that, you know what? I'm going to go trade, because I think it's a flex to do a 1 culture and have 4 diplomatic idea groups and then 3 admin idea groups on a full core as well. But yeah, open exploration because I need to do some colonization of Spain. I also wanted to do the mission because I was trying to also go for the 4 achievements, bear in mind. The Chart of the 70s to be first to circumnavigate the globe. Did think I'd need to raise Portugal. What I didn't realize is that I can do this quite easily if I annex Portugal. So that kind of helped, but I still had exploration first. Into admin to core, into influence to annex my vassals, into religious because 1 faith, 1 culture, into diplomatic because I need the promise of war score cost. Then it was offensive after that, but I actually went into expansion to finish colonization. Didn't really drop it, and then because I couldn't be bothered, to be honest, and then went into trade just to make money at the end here. And yeah, I mean, it's nice money for 0 trade companies. I think it's not bad at all. Not that I'm complaining, but again, money cap, and I'm just good on money. And as you can see, I got pretty lazy. I'm not calling Senate debates, but turns out if you have the passing on, you're fine. You don't need to do that. Now, texts are a bit more annoying for me to get. I can obviously still get them, but yeah, look, I need to support industrialization if I was going to play the campaign onwards, but I can't be bothered, so I'm not doing that. But yeah, that's pretty much the campaign as a whole. My goal for 1 culture, 1 faith, true 1 tank is achieved. Here is my Roman Catholic world. Yes, that was an intended pun. Thank you very much. And yes, I'm ruling my Roman Catholic world out of the US Capitol because I wanted to say I live in the White House while doing so. So yeah, there it is. Oh, and of course, I was concentrating on a bunch of development. So Rome is, New Rome is 85 development. Yeah, very nice. I was also debating if I want to do some efficient deving and get myself to 30k dev, but then again, I realized can't be bothered. Definitely can get that done in the last 50 years, especially since I'm guaranteed another 100 of each monarch point to be generated in. But yeah, was nice. Right, I don't think there's much else to really say about the campaign. I mean, was good. I can show the timeline again if you really want to see. You can definitely see the impact of absolutism when it gets invented. But I mean, yeah, I think we're really done here. I don't think I even did anything incredibly over the top is the worst part, because I don't think I did anything ridiculous. It's a very brute force 1 culture, which I guess is a very Roman way of phrasing it. But yeah, look, absolutism spawns, and then I just go, okay, world conquest, right? The blobbing intensifies so much post-ab. So if you're expanding slow early on before absolutism, don't despair. Absolutism is a hell of a drug for that. And I guess it would be very Roman to say that most things were not done through nuance or careful planning. It was in many ways just brute forced things like, I'm not even stacking that much culture conversion cost. So I did get enough at the end to be on max cost, but I did in many ways brute force culture conversion cost. I did brute force just have enough missionaries that didn't do any wacky stuff for the 1 faith. Very Roman, right? Not a lot of army quality, but if you're sharp outside of China with 500,000 men, you do kind of just win. Well, I guess it would be kind of poetic to conclude the campaign I've used as background footage for my more conversational videos with a very conversational video, but I'm afraid that with that being said, that is indeed all the time I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to Ark, Soda, Lemon, Ozendika, Nick Huss, Nanhatan, Star72, The Awesome Rabbit, Best for Gaming, Grabmo Flavia, Lebarule, W Haste, Sov, Anthony35, AC Napo, Conspiracy Pizza, Yukata, Dunray, Marvy, Jack, Ryland, Stuart Allen, Andrew Black, Nebula, Centronic, and Twiner.